Hello viewers, this is going to be the first spring startup for the spring of 2024. Um, we've had, and we're going to have, a few nice days here in February, which is weird, in the 70s, and I'm going to use a fan, because why not? This is my Lakewood 3-speed 3rd generation box fan from 1989, I think. So we're going to do a startup of this in the window here. This is what it looks like at the beginning of this cooling season. When it's still basically the winter. It's supposed to be back into the 40s later this week. So this isn't going to last, but thought I'd start this up for the video. So I'll set it up here for the video. Usually I don't put vintage box fans in the windows because the sun will deteriorate the plastic over time, but this fan is just so beat up, and I love it so much because of how quiet it is that I use it pretty much exclusively in the bedroom window because of how quiet it is. So I make an exception usually for this fan. Occasionally I'll put a 47330 in there, but yeah. For the time being, I have this back grill taped up because probably around October of last year, I noticed, actually, I've noticed for years, but when you turn the speed on this fan, a little spark would occasionally come out of the motor. And because of my personality, I guess I just didn't really care because I like to live dangerously. I don't know. Anyway, towards the end of last cooling season, I was like, I should probably take a look into that because it's probably shorting out. And I'm just going to need to revarnish the motor, which is not hard to do. But I just never got around to it. And because it's been sitting for like 4 months, I lost the screws, which is just outrageous. I should have just waited until I had enough time to complete the entire cleaning service before taking it apart. But I was lazy and I lost the screws. They've got to be in that room somewhere. They have to be. But I've looked everywhere and I can't seem to find them. So for now, I'm going to tape it. Once I find the screws, I will go ahead and revarnish the motor. Some would say don't use it. But because I've been using this fan this is the most used fan I have, actually. And I've had it for 2 years, and then my neighbor put a ton of hours on this thing, before I had it in my possession. So obviously the problem is a problem, but it's not urgent because it's been running this way for who knows how long. So case in point, I'm okay running it like that for a couple nice days in the window because this is my favorite box fan. I'm gonna move this. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this in the window. It is pretty dirty. I cleaned it when I first got it, but it's pretty dirty at this point. Nothing outrageous yet, but maybe next summer I'll clean it. I'll varnish it this year, but it just isn't really to the point where I'd worry about cleaning it yet. Okay, I'll pop this in the window and we'll be back on the video. Here the fan is in the window against my better judgment in the sun. And here's what I'm talking about. if it'll focus. You can see all these cracks in the handle and how it's kind of starting to flake off right there. That's all from the sun. Now this is not from me using it in the window. It was already like that when I got it, and it hasn't really gotten much worse, but this fan is just kind of banged up from being... My neighbor used it as a garage fan, so it wasn't really taken care of the best. But I cleaned it up pretty well. And it runs pretty good, although I think... I don't know, we'll just see, but I think it could use some oil at this point. We'll see. I'm going to start it up on low. It does in fact still work. And it's so quiet. I think it is running a bit slow. I haven't oiled this since I did the initial restore or cleaning service, whatever you want to call it, so it could use some... Let's see what the spin down is here from low. Now this is a pretty slow running fan. Yeah, it could probably use some oil. It's a pretty slow running fan on low already, but I think that was slower than it should be. This is medium. Spin down for medium. And there is hardly a breeze out today, so this is not the wind resisting the blades. It just straight up needs a good lubrication. And high. I mean, this fan used to have the longest spin down in all the fans in my collection. It really good. It does need some oil. But I don't have an issue running it a couple days before I get to servicing it. But it definitely needs to get serviced at least, if not entirely cleaned this year. So that was the initial startup of this fan for this spring. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment, a constructive one if you have one, and have a good day.